Hi guys, and a great big warm welcome, as ever, of course I said that quickly, to episode 56 of the Ask Zofie podcast. I'm still totally not used to video and audio at the same time, but it's only been, I think this is the fourth time now, so give me a beat, please. Bear with me. So 56 episodes in total, but only 4 where you get to watch my mug as you listen if for some reason you want to do that, or you could just look at the flowers or something behind me. Just maybe do that actually. Okay, so before I get into things, I'm speaking still on the topic of manifestation today. I'm obsessed with this topic, with sharing on this topic, because I'm obsessed with helping you. Just double checking that I am recording. I am. I just have I'm slightly mindful of forgetting to do that. I sat down a minute ago, this is a mini behind the scenes before my behind the scenes, ready to go, and then realized I didn't have my microphone with me and I was just going to record without it. So luckily I realized, okay, before I get into it, as is sort of a bit of a tradition, if I can call it that for me now, I'm going to start by sharing a quote from, I was going to say Course in Miracles then. My goodness, I need to hit myself over the head with this book today. I'm not with it. From Love Notes from God. If you follow me on Instagram, maybe even if you're just one of my members, or even if you listen on here, you'll probably know that I love this book. Why? Again, because it's so soothing. The energy of it is so pure. It's so helpful. And that's obviously my thing. I feel like maybe that's the next tattoo. Like, I just want to be helpful. So I'm going to start by sharing a quote for all of us. Let's see what comes up. I've got you. Let yourself fall fully into me. I've got you. Let yourself fall fully into me. Let me love you. Come home to me now. And by the way, on that, one of the things it says in the book a lot, apart from let me love you, is come home to me, and words to that effect. And all that means is really come home to yourself, to your soul, to your full self, your deeper self, your truer self, as I refer to it. So it's not like going anywhere. It's certainly not going anywhere that you sort of against your wishes. That's what I wanted to say. It's calling you home to the fullest version of you. It's only and ever a beautiful thing. Okay, 2 behind the scenes. Number 1, firstly, related to this, a massive thank you to those of you who have bought a copy of Love Notes from God, who've shared, who've given me your feedback and reviews. I genuinely cannot even begin to tell you how much it means to me, because I love this book. I love what I believe in my bones it can do for people. And therefore, the feedback and the reviews and the purchases and the support just means masses. But Thursday, 2 of you, and then yesterday, Sunday, 1 of you got me into literally the ugly cry, as Oprah used to call it, because one was my dear friend, Emma, who just gave me some lovely feedback on my work and what I do. The other was a lovely lady, Karina, who listens to this podcast. I think she's catching up, so it might take her a while to get to this, but hey, Karina. And those of you who do something similar to me will understand that being in this job, if I can call it that, and also being on the spiritual path can at times feel lonely, because there aren't going to be heaps of people around you necessarily doing the same thing. And as I've said before on the podcast, it's a one-way conversation in many respects. And so getting feedback and kind words just means heaps. It means so much. And yeah, to feel seen and acknowledged. And this is true, of course, if you're someone like me who's on a spiritual path. You may well be if you're listening to this podcast, and who's an entrepreneur particularly, but for all of us. And again, this is the point of Love Notes in some ways, is to give you that sense of being seen, known, loved, acknowledged, supported, guided at all times by the divine. This is really the essence of the words and the energy of the book, and why I'm so passionate about it, is to give you this sense of just how loved you are, And of course, it's a challenge to perceive that when life seems to be kicking you in the teeth. It never is. It's always and ever for you, but sometimes it doesn't seem that way. And so, yeah, Thursday, I totally went into the ugly cry. Thanks to these lovely ladies. And then again, yesterday, a lovely friend of mine, Brooke, did me a wonderful, really kind review on Instagram. And it was just like, oh no, I'm ugly crying again. And honestly, so commonly when I read the book, that happens to me. And when people read it back to me, it definitely happens. Lovely, my lovely friend Sally, who's doing some coaching for me. She's amazing, all the way in Australia. She read a page back to me at the end of one of our sessions, and it was just like, oh, takes my breath away with the feeling of love. And this isn't so much about the book. This is more to remind you, to realign you with the truth, to let you know that that deepest, fullest, truest, unbreakable, unconditional love is omnipresent in your life, surrounding you, indwelling you. You are infused with it at all times, no matter how it seems. This is such a powerful, potent, and beautiful thing to get. Anyway, that was a bit of a deep behind the scenes. I'm going to share another one, which will hopefully segue me into what I'm talking about, which is just a random collection of manifesting tips. I'm super focused, extra focused on manifesting at the moment, because that's what I'm talking about on Instagram. And so I'm mirroring that here on the podcast / YouTube video. Is it still a podcast when it's on YouTube, or does it get called something else? Who knows? Those of you who are my sort of age will remember, I can't remember the program, but there was a kids program, and they used to say, was it a kids program? Maybe it was something else. Answers on a postcard, please. Wow, that my kids, the younger generations, that would make no sense. Can you imagine sending your answer on a postcard? Just blown my own mind with how crazy that is and how old I am. Anyway, let's move swiftly on from that. So my second behind the scenes is me outing myself. People often ask me an iteration or a version of the question, so are you just happy now all the time? And honestly, it typically sort of kind of is in that tone. But anyway, I jest a little bit. But the answer is no, I'm not just happy now all the time. Firstly, I definitely have moments where I'm not happy. And secondly, it is a work in progress, and something that I work at every single day. I focus on every single day. And I practice what I preach. If you know me, you'll know this. That you spend enough time with me, you'll notice I'm really mindful with my language. I'm really careful of what I'm watching on TV and reading and what I'm doing. And I'm also really happy to out myself when I'm not. And I wrote an email this morning to my lovely members on the topic, or actually that's a slight fib. One of the things I mentioned in it was how I had this realization not too long ago in a really powerful way, that when you're tired, you cannot be in alignment. Being fatigued is not conducive to your full alignment. And if you've done my Manifesting Miracles course, the next one's coming up July 5th, by the way, plug for self, then you will know off by heart what I say again and again and again in that course, which is alignment trumps everything. And on the back of that, what's also true is that everything that you desire comes to you on the other side of you getting happy or feeling good. And so being tired, which means or leads to being out of alignment, is just not a helpful place to be. Anyway, story short, I realized that I have not been taking enough time to myself and for myself. And I've been feeling more drained than I would like and more tired. And so I'm outing myself and doing something about it. One of the things I'm going to do is take Thursday as my restore day, because I practice what I preach. Okay, so I am talking all things manifesting again today, leading on from what I just talked about. I'm just checking my notes here for those of you who are watching me on YouTube. The first thing I want to say, and these are just a random bunch of kind of musings basically on the topic of manifestation. When I trained as a hypnotherapist, or solution-focused clinical hypnotherapist, I think was the full title, 16, 17 years ago, a long time ago. That sounded really funny. Sorry. I don't know. I did that funny voice. It wasn't actually on purpose. Anyway, I can't edit video yet, so I can't edit it out. Well, I could, but it would probably take me about 3 days. Okay, so the guy that trained me, that taught me, David Newton, really interesting character, but I won't go into that. He taught us when we were learning about weight loss, about this concept of a calorific no man's land. Okay, so basically this is what happens. Say if you eat 2,000 calories worth of food a day. I have to think about that. That's what you need to sustain your current weight. But to lose weight, it takes for you to go down to 1,400, for example. You could cut down and be like doing without certain foods that you want to 1,500. So you could have a deficit of your normal of 500 calories, but because you haven't gone beneath the point that you need to get to lose weight, you could do that for the rest of your days and never lose a pound or a kilogram, depending on, oops, sorry, I just knocked my tentatively rested microphone there, without ever losing any weight. So I'm just trying to get my microphone. Whew, okay, I think it's back in position. Don't move. That's me, not you. So you could be doing this work, putting the effort in, but seeing no results. Okay, so this relates to manifestation in two ways. One is this, something that I am freaking obsessed with is the idea of never giving up, because you don't know when you're, metaphorically speaking, 3 feet from gold or 5 minutes from your miracle. Like Ed Milet has just written a book, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's something like just the power of one more. It might be that, it's probably something different, but anyway, and it speaks to this. So this relates to the calorific no man's land, because if you metaphorically went one more, it's not literally one in terms of this metaphor, it might be 100 more in terms of calories, but for argument's sake, one more, then all of a sudden it's like the floodgates open. I don't know about you, but I've had periods of time where I've lost weight and you sort of go on for a bit and nothing happens, and then you just get to this threshold, and then eventually you reach a point where you can't freaking stop losing weight. Oh no, I've done it again to the microphone. I'm not sure it's going to stay there, but we'll see. So it's just sometimes you've got to keep going. And this happens a lot with manifesting. You might think, well, I'm doing all the right stuff, it's not working. Why is it not working? And so on and so forth. So I'm just keeping an eye on my microphone. I definitely need a new, a more fitting, suitable microphone stand. Those of you who are just listening can't see that I think I might, can I hold it like this the whole time? Am I gonna, I'm gonna do that. This is the things that I do for you guys. It's on my knee now, okay, and sort of slightly holding it in my hand. Okay, so you can be doing all the right things, but it's just not divine timing yet. So in other words, keep freaking going, keep going. And the other thing that is related is that the ego will tell you, it's words to the effect of, there's no point, it's not going to work, don't bother. And therefore, because you can't manifest your dreams and live your dream life and so on and so forth, you might as well make do with X, Y, Z. In other words, buying a load of shoes, gambling, having sex that you don't really want to be having, spending loads of money, drinking wine, whatever it might be, in an attempt to fill that void. That sounds dodgy because I've just talked about sex, but anyway, too late because I've said it now. So this is the narrative, the vernacular, the attitude and the approach of the ego, whereas the soul will say, there is a price to pay, there is a process to go through, but you will reach the prize. And so keep going, keep going. That's the key thing. And also the ego tends to say, oh, I already know this, I've already done that, I'm already doing that. And in the case of the losing weight analogy, the ego would say, well, I've tried, I've been trying for a year. The soul says, come on, just a little bit more, just knock down those extra 100 calories. Can you see how the ego And that perspective will thwart your growth, will thwart your success, will thwart your up leveling. And so the key thing I want you to take from this, key things, one is keep going. Keep freaking going. And this doesn't mean like grind and hustle. It means keep going with your faithful attitude, with right action. And the second is sometimes it's just a little bit more that you need to give. Your soul will open you up to that. Like, I'm not sure if this is a Gabby Bernstein quote or if she just says it, but when you think you've surrendered, surrender some more. When you think you've given generously, give a little bit more. Obviously, as I always say, have the disclaimer that if this takes you out of alignment, don't do it. But nonetheless, keep this idea in mind. Keep going. And sometimes it just takes a little more softening, a little more opening, a little more time. This is massive. Can you sense the difference? You could be cutting, in terms of that analogy, those 500 calories a day forever, struggling and getting nothing in return. Or you say, I'm going to do just a little bit more. A song's coming through to me. What was it? I feel like it's a Kylie Minogue song. Anyway, I definitely won't start singing. Hopefully not. That would not be ideal. So it's just a bit more, a bit more time. Not being tough on yourself, but understanding that if you go through the process, if you pay the price will be there. Massive, massive, massive. Okay, the other thing, I can't remember if I've spoken about this recently or if I've just chatted about it with friends and members and so on, but I had this realization also recently. There's a study, I think it's called the Stanford study, a piece of research that was done, I want to say the 70s or the 80s, but I'm not 100% sure. The long and short of it is I'm now thinking, did I talk about this on a recent podcast? If I did, sorry guys for the repetition. But it's worth having repeated. That's my out. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So they did this study and basically they gave kids, they said to them, there's a marshmallow you can have now. If you wait 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, you can have 2. And the long and short of it was those children who managed to wait and get the 2 marshmallows, when they followed up on these children sometime later, they scored them on all sorts of things related to their success in life. So things like, I can't remember it to be precise, but things like how much they earned, how happy they were, how healthy, all sorts of things. And those children who managed to delay eating the marshmallow scored higher on every single section that they scored them on. And so what they surmised from this research is if you are able to delay gratification, you will be more successful in life. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Apart from, I don't really like marshmallows, so it wouldn't really be a fair appraisal of me. If it was like a bar of chocolate, it might be different. Anyway, that's an aside. I digress, as I usually freaking do. The reason I'm sharing this is because of something deeper that came through for me when I contemplated it, and it's this. In terms of how the universe works, there is a lag time. So I'm just moving my screen slightly because it's sort of I'm getting a slightly funny glow on it. Is that the right word? I think I'm saying that word because I watched, what was it called last night? God's Something Idiot on Netflix. Absolutely loved that, by the way, with Melissa McCarthy. What was it? God's Favorite Idiot or God's Chosen Idiot? Highly recommend it. That's a massive assign. Massive assign? I said that because I looked at my sheet and it says signs on it. Don't you love it when your brain does that? Or someone else is even funnier. Anyway, so because there is this time lag, sometimes I call it the mean time, where you've asked for something and then it takes a beat for it to manifest into your physical reality. This is why this is so profound. If you are not able to delay gratification, aside from what it means in terms of the purely physical side of things, because if I did this podcast and expected it to be a massive global success in a month or 6 months, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. I would stop, I would quit, for example. There's also how it relates to manifestation, because if you are not able to delay your gratification, you are not going to be competent at consciously manifesting. Here's the thing. People ask me about manifesting and they don't necessarily even understand to begin with that we are all manifesting all of the time, because we are emitting an energetic vibration at all times. And by virtue of that, what comes back to us is decided, the energetic components of it. This is a law of correspondence. I always have to think, because there's law of compensation, law of correspondence, and I get them confused. Anyway, so that real fast too. So we're doing it all the time. So what I speak to is conscious manifesting, conscious manifestation, doing it on purpose. Okay. So if you want to be competent at consciously manifesting, not easy for me to say, then mastering the art, as I have suddenly decided to call it for whatever reason, of delaying gratification is huge. So big, I had to say it in a funny voice. It's huge. It's massive. Again, if you're not able to do this, if you, metaphorically speaking, eat the marshmallow, you're not going to be consciously manifesting. You're just going to be doing it in the purely physical way, which is missing the miraculous side of things, the magic of life that is available when you consciously manifest. So practicing this, knowing this, bearing this in mind is a game changer. Okay, the other thing I want to speak to is signs. So once you become more aware of energy, you can become more aware that the signs will precede the physical manifestation. So the signs, of course, are a physical manifestation of sorts, but they're not the entire piece of the puzzle or part that you are looking for. So before I manifested Daniel into my life, I talked about this last week, I think it was, that there were lots of different signs. I have it again at the moment. So I know that something is going to shift, probably in terms of my work, because that's what I'm focused on in terms of consciously manifesting an abundance. Now, please know that when you are seeing loads of whatever your signs are, obviously the common ones are things like white feathers, angel numbers, rainbows, hearing a certain song, seeing a certain animal, like robins is a common one. The mind will say, yeah, but I can't pay my bills with that, or, I can't go to bed with that, or whatever it might be, depending on what you're hoping to manifest. But please know, this is a powerful sign, particularly when there's lots of signs, when there's lots of driftwood, to again, keep going, because it is imminent. One of my friends was frustrated the other day and she said, I've been told for years that, I can't remember how she worded it, but basically I'm on the precipice. And I'm like, well, maybe you have been, however, you keep stepping back. So you are holding yourself like that calorific no man's land that I talked about earlier, on the precipice. So it's up to you to keep going, to give a bit more. Sorry, my screen's going a little bit weird. I don't know if it's because of the light, might not be great quality. Oh, I'm not sure that's better. I'm just moving my screen for those of you that are listening on the podcast thinking, what's she going on about? What's she doing? Okay, so don't let the mind cause you to turn back or give up and say it's only a sign, it's only a feather. What does that mean? Massively powerful and potent, especially, like I say, when there's heaps of it going on. Okay, another thing that came to me as I was writing these notes that I've spoken about before, but not heaps, and it's actually really, really helpful. So I've definitely had times, said it 3 times, I obviously mean that, in my life where I have wanted to manifest a specific thing and found that a real, what I'm going to call, challenge. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but definitely that's been an issue for me. And something that came through a while back that helped me enormously to quit with this is the realization that when you are saying to life, God, source energy, the universe, your higher self, whatever, I want this specific person or this specific job or this specific opportunity, you cannot be in alignment and saying that at the same time. Let me explain. When you're in alignment, your mindset is going to be more along the lines of this or something better, okay? Because you know that that seeming outside source that is assisting you in terms of consciously manifesting wants the best for you, knows what's best for you based on what you have said and told it and discerned and decided through your lifetime. And by saying it has to be this, you're not having faith, you're not trusting, and therefore you're out of alignment and you're stopping that or something better coming through for you, which is why the affirmation, this or something better, is so powerful. Along the same lines is in divine timing. When we say it has to be this, it has to be now, then we're taking ourselves out of alignment. There was a time when I really wanted to manifest a specific person because I thought it was divinely ordered. And I realized that I'd really kind of healed from that when there was things I felt I could have done to try and bring it in. I was like, why would I do that? If I have complete faith in my higher self and my soul and the universe, why would I want to try and do some kind of magic? And it doesn't make sense. And so when you are insisting it has to be this, or it has to be now, it has to be in this manner, you are taking yourself out of alignment. And so you are shooting yourself in the foot. In truth, no one else ever shoots us in the foot. It's only ever us, but that's somewhat of an aside. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got any questions on the back of this, DM me if you're on Instagram, or drop me an email and I will cover it in more detail, either on here or on Instagram or whatever. I want to end by saying it is truth, and this is an Abraham Hicks quote, that you can be or do or have anything. You can be or do or have anything. This is a fundamental truth. But also remember that to keep that mindset, that sentiment of this or something better, not something that someone outside of you has decided you should have or would be better for you, but based on you and your dreams, your desires, your wishes, is better for you. There's no trickery here. There's no sort of sleight of hand or the universe trying to distract you and go, oh, you don't really want that because there's not many of those in stock, so we'll give you this second-rate article. Doesn't work like that. It's genuinely this or something better, and always in divine timing. Okay, I really hope that some of that inspired you. I'm quite looking forward to being able to let go of the microphone and give my hand a stretch. Normally I get a dead leg when I'm in the cupboard, so I think it's possibly an improvement on that. Thank you so much for listening. And a quick reminder, if you're listening kind of now, then tomorrow, which is 21st of June, I can't believe that, freaking hell, I'm doing the free workshop online. It's based on the podcast episode called My Musings on Menopause. It's just really mindset tips and so on for that period in your life. It's on Zoom. It's at 7 o'clock. If you're like half putting the kids to bed, whatever, you can just join and then go. It's totally relaxed. So just message me and I will save you a spot and send you the link for that, and feel free to share with anyone who might benefit, because my intention with it as ever will be to inspire and uplift and fill you guys with positivity, and I will do a guided meditation as well, so it'd be lovely. Okay, thank you so much for washing. It was going so well. It wasn't going so well, was it? Anyway, let's say that again. Thank you so much for watching/listening. That's why it was challenging, because I had to say those words together. Let me try again. Watching/listening. I will be back next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day. A massive thank you for tuning in, for you guys, for all your support, for being in my teeny weeny but beloved community. Please remember, if you want to up level, to grow, to step into your dreams, to start living as I would see it, as your soul intended, I swear to you, I'm here for you. I'm here for it. I, as you all know, spent a lot of my time, a great deal of my life, sad and lonely and feeling alone and less than, and it was in silence, it was unseen. And I don't want that for you. So I will be your champion, your cheerleader, your guide, your bridge. If that is you and you want my help, please reach out. Thanks, guys. I'll be back next week.